We now return to Ace Attorney's Chronicles. It's Ace Attorney. There's no plural, ever. What a delightful snowman. I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It's a little creepy, though. Oh, it has a scarf, look. You'd need one if you were out in this freezing cold all the time. Wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment, too. Certainly can't afford a scarf. Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his. But the person who made the snowman certainly would. Yes, I know. You're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. Okay, well, clearly we're looking at this for a reason. This actually looks like a photoshopped cutout. Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London. Well, just pick up a stone and throw it at one of the windows then. That would mean being arrested in order to ride it, wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone. No, I wasn't serious. That laundry is going to be absolutely frozen solid. Alright. It's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons. I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I've found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what was going on. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all. Okay. So I guess we're not getting anywhere here. Oh, look at the windows of that building there. Are you sure they're windows? Yes, but they're all filled with bricks. And there's broken glass here. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment. There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though. It's an extension, then. Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place. The clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy. Well, it is known as Foggy London Town. I think it's more smog than anything. I can just make out some sort of spire through the fog. It looks like it's still being built, though. Aha, yes, that must be the Crystal Tower being built for the great exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. Apparently it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides and the symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition. It's to be the largest exposition in history, isn't it? Can't even begin to imagine it. Is that a real thing? Is there an actual period that we could look that up and finally figure out what time in history this is? Do you see all the black smoke rising from the chimneys over there? It says here that in Great Britain many people heat their homes in winter using coal. The only chimneys I really remember seeing in Japan were on top of the bathhouse. You think some of those houses could be on fire? Not at all. Well, even so. That much thick smoke billowing up to the heavens is surely going to turn the whole sky black sooner or later. Gosh, you may be right about that. Been avoiding the bike because that's very obvious clue. That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history. Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible. We're not seriously moving into that, are we? Yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. Okay, so even the broken windows there. Alright. Oh, a British bicycle, look. Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well. Bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that. The joke here being that bicycle riding is very popular in Japan. Goodness, do you dislike bicycles? No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly, it's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. If you'd ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me. What? I'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. Okay. I mean, this is sort of what we're here to look for, is it not? You would think. Oh, in fact there is. There is more. This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred. Yes, it's a very wide open space, isn't it? It's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker could have been hiding in the snowman. Oi, what are you foreigners doing round here? We're just investigating the scene. Conspiring with that mustached fella from Japan, are you? Who? Conspiring? Come here to destroy evidence, have you? Get out of here before I give you an Iden? An Iden? Give you an Iden? Go on. He shoot us away like rats. Yes, we should give him a wide berth, I think. What a disappointing experience. Alright. Well, it seems like we've found all we can here. What other options do we have? Not that. I was hoping to bring back the moving thing. Okay, that's that. What about... There we go. Alright, I guess we're going to the prison. These prison cells are where suspects are held whilst they await trial. Visiting is permitted at certain times. A mustachioed Japanese fella, huh? So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself... Wait, when were we in prison in Japan? Oh yeah, that's right. The first trial. I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse. Apparently, our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53. Your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding at the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat as yet with no name? Calling me by a number? It's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. I do not know whom this is and what voice to give him yet. Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think is going on here? I have no idea. But I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Oh good, I got the right accent at least. Excuse me, who? Shh, quiet. They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening, even now. I can sense it. Right. So, could I ask you who There you are. You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost. A ghost. What is he doing with his hands? We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you Japanese by any chance? This is beyond my wildest dreams. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment. Could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese. What compassion my fellow countrymen show. To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon. A first-class lawyer. Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example. Yes, I will. Shan't stay sullen and silent. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Tsusato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notoriously named Natsume. Soseki Natsume. It's almost a tongue twister. Converse. Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. I'm glad I'm not the only one who felt that way. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see, a writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume. Nom de plume. You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san? No. Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that. And haiku, that reminds me of home. That really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent here by our government? Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and now this! It's beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But just because the government tells you to do something, doesn't mean you can do it? No. What do you mean? If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. No, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I agree. As a native speaker myself, I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi. You had access to Japanese paper here? You must be a man of great standing. Oh, yes. So I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems. What's wrong with your eyes? What is the accusation against you? Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder. It's always murder. Murder? Oh, no, it's all right. That woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife. with a spoon. Right before my eyes. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So, Saseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker, despite it happening in front of his eyes. It's vital that we find out more about this case. I guess we should have come talk to this guy first, huh? About the case... It was an accursed evening just after the snow had started to fall, or it started to clear, and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she was stabbed in the back. She suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. Got a little Edgar Allan Poe going on? How terrible. I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps? I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Saseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English, and a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people. I see. A young woman, unknown to Saseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one. Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? Huh? What conundrum? Tell me the conundrum. What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Saseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did. But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit? What did you just say? Am I stage whispering these things, or is parentheses my thoughts and everyone can just... I have to be projecting this, right? What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. I literally didn't. It was in my head. How come everyone can read my goddamn thoughts? Oops. Perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Saseki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry? He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh, yes, she's right. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck. Accursed great detective. Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live, with his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Rash, big-headed busybody, begone! May you be cursed until the end of your days, Hairlock Sholmes. I knew it. Mr. Sholmes? We got a thing going on. Hairlock Sholmes. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me. "This is the police. Put the weapon down." Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination devils! You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Hairlock Sholmes. It's actually Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me, this weak-stooped kitten of a man. I wonder what great deduction process led him to this conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes's deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me, in impossible English. Fiendish foreign flimflammery! Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, but my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, "Yes, I do," and "I'm fine." The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Here. I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine? He's not fine now. Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo, and when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh, yes, all right, yes. They've really got to me. This country's poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? No choice. That's kind of the game. Well... Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student. I've defended a case in the Old Bailey, only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who is supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake? I should maybe point out that at this point in time, a lot of people around me die. And whatever happened to the inspector/spy that came along with us? He's been out of the picture for a while. A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, who do you mean? The lawyers. All the British defense lawyers. They won't defend me. Goodness, why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. Must be very hard for you, Saseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong. I've studied more English than half the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. He has a very strange accent, you have indeed, sir. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. So, Seki-san, it's just that... well, the game is almost over, and I don't know how much longer I can take that. Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being. Oh, what do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student of Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. Is there nothing else to talk about? Okay, I guess there's nothing else to talk about. Do we have anything to present? I really haven't done any of this. Well... could go back there, but I mean... Are you sure we've asked everything we need to, Mr. Naruhodo? Okay, that kind of implies that we need to go back to Briar Road. Oh, fucking hell, I've forgotten what your name, your voice sounds like. What's a jumping, what's... You know what? We'll pick this up next time.